Form A. All members are present, and I think let's start on that side of the room and introduce yourself, please.
Paul Vollert, Public Works Superintendent.
Tom Rome, member of the committee.
Sue Schill, City Attorney.
Dennis Pollock, City Alderman.
Patrick Delaney, committee member.
Jay Bemke, committee member.
Ryan Hartman, Human Resources.
Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order at 2:22. Item number 2 is discuss and consider for approval the commercial driver's license policy. Ryan or Paul? Okay.
Or do you want to? So I can start on this. The commercial driver's license policy, or CDL policy, is something that we just drafted. It had not existed before, and Paul will allude here in a moment. The federal statutes have changed regarding the use and acquisition of CDL licensure, making it a little bit more difficult for employees or potential employees to secure that. And the cost has gone up exponentially, so we're proposing a way to offset that while retaining the employees. And I'll let Mr. Vollert speak on that a little bit if he cares to.
Okay, so as Ryan said, past practice has changed because the federal government, as of February 1st, has required that anybody obtaining a CDL license be instructed by a commercial driver's school. In previous times, you were allowed to go and get your temporary license, and then a lot like when we were 16-year-old kids, drive with another person and become comfortable with the vehicle, comfortable with driving, things like that, and then go and take a driver's test. Like I said, February 1st, they changed the requirements where you now have to be trained by a licensed school. We don't have many of those in the area. There's, I believe, one in Anago, one down by Westfield, and then another one up by Escanaba, Michigan. To say that we don't have them in the area is partially incorrect. There's businesses that have trainers that work for the businesses, so they're willing to train people, but they want them to work for them once they've trained them. And so we did some looking around. Most of the places are doing a week-long class, depending upon the type of license that you're looking for. It could be anywhere from a month-long class to a 1-week class or a 2-week class. Well, our minimum requirement would be a Class B CDL with air brakes, which most places can do that with that 40-hour training. The unfortunate part is that the training falls during a work week, and so the employee would have to go there for the time that they would be working. Like I said before, we required the employee to get it within 6 months of employment. Now I think because of the time period and things like that, and these classes are kind of filling up quick, we're going to give them 12 months to get their CDL. And then we're making a recommendation that we reimburse the employee for the time that they're away to take the class, and then also paying for the class with the condition that they're going to stay on employment for, I believe, if they leave after 1 year, they're going to repay a portion of it. After 2 years, they're going to repay, I believe, 50%, and after 3 years, then they're free to go if they choose to or whatever without any reimbursement.
Committee, any questions? Patrick?
How many employees does this affect?
Well, it currently affects one person that we have on staff and then another person that we're having on staff. But it realistically will affect anybody that we hire could affect anybody that we hire in the future. When I first started with the city 14 years ago, the HR department would only show us employees that had their CDL. And that was anywhere from 50 to 75 people. Now we're lucky to get probably less than 25 employees applying for it, and it's probably 50-50. You know, and we've lost out on some really good candidates. For instance, I believe we hired five people last year. All 5 of those employees, none of them had their CDLs before they came here. So it could affect new hires, and it could not if they're, you know, in the industry and doing the type of work that we already are. But currently, it would affect 2 employees that we currently have on staff.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jay, the drivers we have now, they're covered then? I mean,
Correct. Like I believe there's 35 people in the Public Works Department. There are 3 of them without their CDLs. 2 of them are required to get them. The other one is a longtime employee that I guess is grandfathered in unless we choose to make him get it in the future. But his job doesn't require him to have it.
but the rest have it.
Yes, sir.
I guess I have a couple questions for you, Paul. First of all, can we train, have we looked into it this far? Can we train a trainer and have a trainer on staff?
We have not looked into that. I'm sure it's probably a possibility, yes.
And would it be worth our while to do that? I mean, would it be something you're interested in doing?
I guess I'd have to look into it further. I've not spent any time what it takes to become accredited to be a trainer. I know that I do know that there was businesses that did CDL testing before and training that are no longer doing it because it was of the hoops that they had to jump through to it. One lady that I talked to on Monday happened to be up in Escanaba, Michigan, said that their program was one of the few that met the requirements of the new federal government guidelines. So I could be more than happy to look into it.
Okay, I guess, I mean, maybe that's something we could do with the county, potentially get Midstate involved. Sounds like there's going to be demand in the area anyways. The other question I had is, do you have to have, when you hire these, you were just talking about hiring people without CDLs, could we wait until, so you bring somebody on without a CDL, bring them on as, let's say, a common laborer, so they're in that laborer's position, could you let them go, instead of putting a time frame on this, until they bid into a position where they would need a CDL, and then train them?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. The piece of it that becomes difficult is, and you know you've did it for 30-plus years, you get to that Christmas time, you know, our work group is small enough now where you get a large snowstorm and everything like that, it just, handcuff is too strong of a word, but it makes it just a little bit harder on the supervisors to be able to, that person isn't as valuable, I guess, without a CDL, because all of a sudden now you've plowed snow for 2 days and you start pulling out snow, your crew is getting smaller because guys are tired, guys are sick or whatever. Now that person, the only thing he's really good for is to flag traffic because he doesn't have his CDL, where you lose that flexibility to be able to throw him into a truck or whatever. So, yes, could it be done? Yes, it could be. It's nicer than a nicety. It gives flexibility for the supervisors.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else? Paul?
Jay,
Tom?
yeah, well, I guess it's something we have to do, somehow to approach the situation. I think that if there's some way to have something in the area, that would be nice, but that's gonna take time to arrange. So in the meantime, I think we're gonna have to look at doing something else when the situation arises. And I think with what Paul just alluded to, it's, you know, to give somebody that time too is nice. But then again, if we need that person, you know, we need that person. So if time can be given, that's nice, but that time probably can only be so much. And then we have to, make a move so we have that person available when and if would be needed. So, I mean, it's, with the, I thought, and times have changed. I don't know what's all gone on, other than, I know what you said, Paul, with the different companies are doing this themselves or whatever, and people have to stay on and that, because I've seen the commercials and all this stuff. I mean, Fox Valley, I think, over the years, used to advertise of doing it. Come learn how to drive a truck and all this. So they've probably gotten out of it, I guess, from listening to you. I don't know. So it's, but if there would be something that could be done in the area-wise, with the county, we have here Rapids, you have, Port Edwards must have CDL drivers, I don't know how many. Nakusa, I mean, they're smaller departments than that, but even Buren. But in the area, county-wise, again, you go up to Marshfield, the city, part of the county up there. Point again in the area, is there something that could be put together? But again, that part's would take time to do and to assemble. But I think so we have, I think, to get on board to do it, we have to start the thing. But in the meantime, it may be to do the I guess what's in here, if the 1 week training would suffice, that's, probably something that we'll have to look at in the immediate term. And then again, if somebody would be hired or whatever, can be said, maybe you don't have to go right through it, but with the understanding that, in a few months you may have to, because this and this is going to happen, that we're going to have to shuffle you through the program. So it's, I just think that it's just, I think if it's there, and it is there, that we should put the thing into place and, get the ball rolling. But if there's a different way to address the situation, we can look at that too. So I'm not quite sure how to, I guess, make the motion other than to,
Well, I think we're,
maybe it's all in this. Maybe it's all in this here to go with.
yeah, and I think what we have here is probably enough to get us by. And if we can come up with another solution, I mean, that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
So this would probably be enough to get us through. Paul?
So I just for people, if you're numbers people or whatever, so Alderperson Delaney, this one's for you. So the class in Escanaba, Michigan was $3,700. That included 5 nights room and board. So we take $75 a night off that, so $240 off of that. So you're down to $3,500. So if you take either way, if it's employees, if we're going to train the employee, we're still going to pay them if they're in Wisconsin Rapids or if they're up in Escanaba, Michigan. They're only charging us about $75 an hour to train that person. So we're probably, if we came up with this ourselves, granted, it might be something that we could charge the county then or other people, but we're probably saving $25 an hour. By the time you have our normal person charges out between $50 and $65 an hour by the time you include their benefits and everything like that. So I understand what we're saying. I guess my thought process is kind of along the same way as yours, Mr. Bemke, is that we get these through these first 2. We try to come up with a solution that maybe is cooperative with ourselves and the county, maybe even Portage County, Stevens Point, or whatever, and see if it pays. It might be such a thing that if you do one every 5 or 6 years, you're not sharp. I mean, these guys do this for a living. They're doing 2 week-long sessions a year, or a month, I'm sorry. So they know how to train the people specifically for, I mean, it's kind of like train for the test, right? So they know the things that people need to know to be good professional drivers. So I think there is some benefit to that also.
Just, Paul, one more question. So you've got two that are affected right now, and are you anticipating any more yet this year? Or
There-
potentially any more this year?
There is a possible additional retirement coming up in the first half of the year. There's nothing guaranteed yet. But I believe the other individuals that we interviewed, I believe they already have their CDLs. So it should be just this two for this year.
Okay, thank you. Committee, anything else? What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve the commercial driver's license policy as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor by aye? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 3, discuss and consider for approval a seasonal gardener position with the Park and Rec Department. Is that you, Ryan?
Yep. So I'm just reading off of a text from Jake Klingforth, who's unable to make it today. But he is proposing, or the Parks Department is proposing to have 2 seasonal groundskeepers, gardeners, over maintaining the greens in the local parks and the landscaping areas in and around the zoo at $10.50 an hour, $15 a week, or 15 hours per week at $10.50 an hour for at the longest 12 weeks. And that's the job description that should have accompanied the agenda. So a seasonal part-time position, 15 hours a week at $10.50 an hour.
Committee, any questions? Anyone else? What are your wishes?
Jay, does this take into, part of, because of the, and I haven't read this, I'm looking at it right now, the master gardener ceased to exist. I'm not sure how long ago even. Does this come about because of not all of it, but is this part of it too, because of that, that they used to take care of some of that within the, so I'll say the zoo. But
Yeah, I
different-
think
so
that's where the
different parts,
conversation kind of started from, Tom. I think you're exactly right. And again, I don't want to speak on Jake's behalf, but I will do my best. I think it stemmed from those conversations of the master gardening and the amount of time and beautification that was done at the zoo for the flowers. And I think, and maybe Paul, you've been around here a lot longer than I have, but they wanted to make sure that it was kept up now with these in these upcoming years, and that's what brought the top of mind to get a seasonal gardener in here.
Well, and I agree with that, to keep it up. The looks make it better for people to go to. Where do we have the money in the budget that, I'm sure we do, but again,
Yep.
is it and where is it?
Yeah, he does have that budgeted with his seasonal or summer employees, and it would be approximately $3,780 for the 2 for the summer for the 12 weeks. And I'm just reading off of the text that he provided me for information.
No, well, I think it's, the zoo in particular, I think is something because it's, without the gardeners there, to keep up, or to rejuvenate the flower beds and whatnot, would be an addition to that over there. So I think it's something that we probably should do. And you said it'd be 15 hours a week, 12 weeks. Is that what I got? I'll move for that.
And I'll second it. There's a motion to approve the seasonal gardener's position within Park and Rec. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I abstain.
Item number 5, discuss and consider for approval. Item number 4, discuss and consider for approval an IT intern within the Information and Technology Department. Ryan or Tyler?
Yes, so Tyler and I have been working on, it's a position, from my understanding, that has been in the IT budget for the last couple of years that has not been filled. So Tyler gave it a hard look, wanted to increase the hourly rate a little bit to make it competitive to other internships that are paid in the IT arena, and modified the job description. So again, these funds at this rate of $15 per hour is something that is budgeted and has been budgeted for already. The reason it's coming here today is for modifications to the job description and for the, just for the attraction and the recruitment purposes. And I guess if I missed anything, Tyler, you can feel free to add.
Committee, any questions? Anyone else, any questions? If not, what are your wishes?
I'll move to approve the IT intern for IT.
I'll second that.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 5, discuss and consider for approval the renewal of an employee health insurance with Aspirus Health Plan effective July 1st, 2022. Ryan?
Okay, thank you. So within your packets that were just provided today, and again, apologies for the late presentations. However, these numbers and agreements and drafts were literally given to us yesterday for us to get these on the agenda. So what we are looking at on the health insurance side would be a decrease in health insurance premiums of 3.40%. And on one of the sheets, it would be from M3 Employee Benefits, and City of Wisconsin Rapids would be at the top right in the header. If you look down to the bottom right corner of that document, you will see what the approximate savings are to the city of $152,913 by us taking the 3.4% decrease.
Questions? Go ahead.
Is this a proposal that gets negotiated, or is, how did we end up with I mean, the prices everywhere is going up. How did these end up going down?
How do they end up going down? So, yeah, and actually Sue is part of the team that works with us on this, and so if I miss anything, she can feel free to speak up. But we work with a broker, M3. But basically what it is, long and short of it is, we have been very fortunate to have healthier employees for whatever reason. I think this is the third year in a row. Is that right, Sue? Third year in a row with a decrease? Or zero. I think 2 years ago, our original proposal, last year, I think we were proposed from the provider a 0%, and we said, no, we've done, our broker actually helped with that, and we said we've done better than just having no increase, so they came back with a negative 6.9% decrease. And this year, now we're looking at a 3.4. So over the last 2 years, I think we're looking at close to a 10% decrease in health insurance premiums. Now, But again, a lot of it is the pool usage, meaning our pool of employees with their families have done a tremendous job. Whatever the reason is, we've been very fortunate not to have big claims, the major claims, so.
Anyone else? If not, I'll move to approve the renewal of the employee health insurance
Second.
with Aspirus. There's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 6, discuss and consider for approval employee health and dental insurance rates for 2022.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you for the approval of the 3.4% decrease. Now we'll move on to the dental. And on the dental side, what you're going to see, there's going to be a couple documents. One is a checkups. One will be titled Smarter Dental Plans Checkup Plus. Then there's choosing a network dentist. That kind of explains the Premier Network and a PPO network. And I thought, did I include, is there one more floating around that you might have? If not, I can speak to what the intent on this is. So what we are proposing, what we think would be the best way to go, if we kept everything as it is, the way it stands at this moment, we could have a 3% decrease in dental insurance. Now, dental is not the biggest expense to the city, but it does have a valid benefit to the employee group. We could have a 3% decrease. However, if we went with these new plans of a Premier and PPO provider situation, along with moving to this, the first document, the Checkups Plus, if we were to take those two options, that would be a 3% increase. So I guess what we are proposing is to go with these two new options, and which will be a 0% increase. So the Checkups Plus will give people their two routine checkups throughout the year, but it will not have to go towards their $1,000. So they'll still have their $1,000 for other necessities they may need on the dental side. To those of us that were in the meeting with M3, and again, Sue can say otherwise, but I think to us this kind of seemed like a no-brainer as far as we can offer the employees a little bit more, it's a little bit better for the same price as what they're currently paying in 2021, moving to 22. This would start July 1. So did I summarize that good, Sue, or did I kind of ball it all up?
No, that's good. Yeah, it just including the PPO along with the Premier, that just allows our employees, if they happen to go to the PPO provider, to obviously have some services at a reduced cost, which then saves their, see, there's $1,000 max each year for each employee. So obviously they could save money by going to a PPO provider and then have more of their max available. Whereas before, when we were in the Premier, or we're presently in the Premier plan, that might not necessarily be the best rates. We're self-insured basically for dental, and Delta Dental does our administration. And then the Checkups Plus, as Ryan said, adding that benefit then, so that money then doesn't go towards the $1,000 max, would be a benefit to our employees. So for basically the same rates as we have been having with our employees, we're enhancing it in a couple different ways, which we thought, as Ryan said, was a no-brainer to recommend. And also I think the health rates are also part of number 6. So I think you have a sheet that has the actual, based on the 3.4% that you approved in number 5, Now we're setting the health rate, the health insurance rates, which are laid out, and you'll see that those have gone down, obviously passing that 3.4% decrease on to the employees.
Committee, any questions? So this isn't going to change anything, though, as far as in-network, out-of-network, people can stay with their dentists and,
Right.
okay.
Also move.
Okay. So what's this called, Ryan? What's this new plan called? What's the new plan called? What are we approving? Okay. There's a motion to approve the health and dental rates for 2022. There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a
I'll
second.
second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 7, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E Wisconsin Stats, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting or other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In closed session, the committee will discuss WRPPA's recent non-ratification of the city's tentative agreement with WRPPA, including discussion of negotiation strategy. Committee?
I don't have a problem going into closed, but is there anything we can say in open, or would be best to go into closed?
Sue?
Well, I think we can say that the police department did not, or the police union did not ratify the tentative agreement that we had with them. So
Because we had that agreement at the last meeting. I
yep,
think it was, wasn't it?
they had recommended approval to their members, and they just voted last week, I think, or the week before, and did not ratify it. So
Okay.
we're going to talk about going forward, what to do next. Yep.
I'll move we go into closed.
Second. There's a motion and a second to go into closed session. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are in closed session.